Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are talking about AEM Cloud Manager program section. In the last video, we have covered overview. So let's start with the programs. In the program management inside the Cloud Manager, it is providing us the overall information about all the environments, the different pipelines, and the other reports which are very necessary to look at overall the environment. AEM solution providing all the information related to environment, pipeline, and the versions, and also it is helping us to navigate on a different options. We can quickly check on each program how many different modules are enabled. In your program, you might see modules like sites and asset, which are very common. However, a part of those solutions, you can add multiple different solutions. Those you can also see in the program overview. The another feature of the program is activity, where you can go and check the current and the historical pipeline data. In each entry of the pipeline execution, you can go and check how much time was taken by a particular step. And also you can pull out the related information in terms of logs and the useful UI presentation. Pipeline is another feature where you can go and check how many pipelines are available for you. Generally, we do have 2 to 3 pipelines out of the box, but you can create your own custom pipelines as well, which you can use to deploy your code on any specific environment within a program. Repository is helping us to show all the available uh, SCM branches where you are maintaining your code, and those code are related to only on Adobe repository. However, the sync option will always be available from the external repository. Reports are always showing the overall health of the environment and different data metrics to find out what are the trends uh, for all the environments. Let's talk about each of the features in a quick way. When we starting with the overview of the program, whenever we are opening up, it is showing us how many solutions are enabled, how many different environments are running on the current program, and what are the URLs, as we are having multiple different tiers like authoring tier, publish tier, and preview tier. So how you can access all those via URL. Also, it will show us a quick view of all the pipeline and the status. Also, who can use that? All the program managers, architects, and owners can use that to have a quick look on the program. And the typical use cases, it is telling us the health of the overall environments and what was happened in the last deployment and how we can access all the environments. Let's quickly go on the screen and see how you can access the program and what you can see. So this is the program screen. Whenever you are landing on the Cloud Manager, you can see this screen. In this screen, it was talking about different sections. For example, environments section. It is telling us how many different environments are available and what are the status of those environments, how many different pipelines are available for us. It might be your out of the box pipeline or your custom pipelines. It will show all the pipelines. Now, in terms of performance, it is showing what is the current performance of the CDN and the audit. So this is how you can also manage your overall reporting, which will be helpful to look at the overall environment overview. From the left navigation, you can expand the program section and you can traverse the other features of the program section. We are just talking about program. However, there's if in case you want to go in a particular specific program, you just need to click on that particular environment. It will show you all the information like what is the current URL or authoring URL that you want to access and in which region it is available, from where it is serving all the content, which is the current version of the environment and the source code version as well. Now, as we were talking about, one environment could have different tiers. So in case of published tier, you just need to hit the URL or a link. So it will land you on a different URL, which is just specific to the publish environment or tier. Similarly, preview tier. So all these three tiers are part of your particular environment. If we are we are having multiple mm, environments, it means all the environments are having the similar tier. However, as you can see, the sandbox environment or the rapid development environment, RDE in short, those might not have the preview tier, but the other common or out of the box environments like production stage and the dev should have those tiers. So we were talking about how you can access the different tiers. Now, domain mapping, we will talk about that, how you can map the domain, because that is a part of your services. In the configuration, you can configure different environment variables, which might be useful when you are accessing any of the credentials to connect with any third-party application, or might be you are having any uh, secret information that you want to keep. You can keep here on the cloud manager, and you can pull out those information through your OSGI uh, bundle, or might be you can, the way that we manage all the configuration in the OSGI, in the similar way we can pull out the information through our cloud manager uh, environment variables. Now, if I'm talking about the restoring of the content, that is also one of the feature. It is taking a backup on a regular time interval. If in case you want to take a backup, you can easily go ahead and take a backup, whatever backup is available. For example, if I'm looking at on day of today, a backup was taken a few hours before, so I can go ahead and restore this backup. Once I will restore, I can see the same activity or restore activity. One more entry will be appearing under this section. Advanced network configuration is telling us if we are having any email engine or any other services that we want to leverage in our environment, might be your external database or any other system that you want to connect with your AEM environment, how you can connect with that. There are three different mechanisms to connect all those network ports. So you can select like which one you want to go with. Egress, a dedicated IP, and other one is also available. So you can go with any of them and can connect different ports or in different environments which are running on a different ports, and can leverage all those features on your AEM platform. So this is how you can manage your overall program. Now let's talk about the other feature, which is activity. So in the activity, what you can do, we can track the execution of pipeline. It could be your current execution and the historical executions of your pipelines. We can also look at the overall status of any of the execution. For your stage and production pipeline, generally we need to provide approval to push all the changes to the production environment. So approval window you can get through the activity section. Environment creation and deletion also you can do through your activities. However, that is available on your overview window of cloud manager. You can check how you can assign the roles and the configuration related updates. You can also look at from the activities. If Adobe is pushing any of the new releases, that you can also notice in the activity section. Why it matters? Because if case we want to look at how many different audits and compliance are going on during the deployment process, we can easily look at that. It is helping us to track the overall execution, and we can go ahead and do the investigation if we can find something is not going as per our standard and best practices. So we can easily go and pull out the information through the activity section. Let's quickly go on the screen and see how we can traverse all the features of activity. So from the left navigation, we need to hit the activity, which is part of your program section. Once you are clicking on that, you can see all the informations you can look at, like how many different pipelines we have executed, and what was the action, and it was that completed successfully or not, when was that was started, and how much time it took to complete the overall execution, and the other details like what is the commit ID and was that triggered manually or automated. So everything you can see here. However, if you look at how many information or how much code Adobe has deployed, you can check under the automatic updates, as we have selected option to push all the automatic update from the Adobe side. So you can go ahead in the different section, which is automatic update, and can see how many times Adobe has pushed any changes on your environment. Now, if any of the pipeline, if you want to look at, we just need to click on any of the entry, and it will show you all the information like when it was executed and what is the information, or when the particular step was completed. If you want to download any logs or look at the review, you can easily go ahead and check, and you can see uh, are that code is reliable for you or not, or falling under the all the best practices Adobe is suggesting to us or not. If not, we need to do the changes. So that is how you can go ahead and check all the information on a particular activity. Similarly, when we are talking about, we cannot do much operations on the activities, as those are driving through the execution of pipelines. Whenever we are triggering, it could be automated or manual, but this is just a kind of read mode for us, and we can pull out the logs to do the further investigation. Let's talk about the another feature, which is pipeline. In the pipeline, we can create two different type of pipelines: production pipeline and non-production pipeline. As name is uh, suggesting, production pipeline is just for stage and production environment. However, non-production pipeline you can create for different environments, as you can spin up multiple different uh, environments parallel to your dev environment. So you can create multiple non-production pipeline and can execute code to any of the environment except stage and production. Configuring the quality gates and deployment triggers are the key factor whenever we are designing our pipeline or defining the configurations of the pipeline. Also, we can take a decision how we want to execute. It could be manual or automated. Approval of the production deployment is something a manual activity as of now, which is tightly binded with production pipeline. Whenever the code deployment is done on the stage environment, before pushing to the production environment, a manual approval should be granted through the activity section, and that is part of your pipeline. When you are deploying your code through the pipelines, you can get the application code, all the application you code you can deploy. Dispatcher is going with the pipeline only. Similarly, OSGI configuration and the content packages, which are part of your UI apps and core module under your Maven multi-repository structure. So all these code will go in a single pipeline execution. Who generally use that? Developers, team leads, your architects, and DevOps team generally do all these kind of activities, or all the information that they need to look at. They need to go and check the pipelines and activity section. Let's quickly see on this screen how the pipelines available for us. From the left navigation, we need to hit on the pipelines. And once we hit the pipeline section, you can see how many different pipelines are available for us. As you can see, production pipeline will be only one. As you can see, production web tier pipeline. This is one. And whenever you are looking at any of the pipeline, you can see from where the code will be deployed, I mean the repository and the branch of that, and where you want to deploy and which kind of pipeline that is. It could be different pipelines like web tier, full stack, and any other pipeline as well. So you can take a decision which pipeline that is, where it will be deployed, from which branch that will be deployed, and the triggering point is manual or automatic, and when that was executed last time. In case you want to add a new pipeline, click on any of the click on the button which is coming on the top right. and add a production pipeline, or might be you can select a non-production pipeline. Production pipeline we are already having, so let's go with the non-production pipeline. In the non-production pipeline, you can see the quality pipeline, which will check the quality information, how if our code is passing all the quality gates or not. For deployment pipeline, it will run the overall pipeline. Similarly, the triggering point could be on git changes. Whenever any code will be available on the git repository, on the same time the pipeline will be executed, or you want to trigger manually in case anything is going on the failure end. So what type of action you want to go with, you can select that as well. So once we are done, or the name we can also provide. Now let's go ahead on the next. It is asking for like which type of deployment you want to go with, like the code deployment. So do you want to go with a full stack code? It means all the code will be deployed, or you want to go with a targeted code. In the targeted code, you can see the front end, which is your UI front end module, and the web tier, which is your the config part of your uh, module. So if, which one you want to go with, it will deploy the specific module only on that. Web tier is related to your dispatcher configuration. So you can deploy the only dispatcher related module to any of the environment for the testing purpose. From which branch you want to deploy, there could be multiple branches for you in your repository. So which branch you want to go with, you can select that based on your structure, how you are creating your repository. And once you are done with that, you just need to save it. It will tell you uh, how a new entry will be available under your overall pipeline section, and you can execute that. If that is manual, you can trigger it based on your need. Else you can, if that is on git changes, you can easily push the code and it will start automatically. In case of the manual, you just need to select that and run the selected pipelines. In a multiple phase, if you are thinking you are having multiple environments and you want to execute multiple pipelines on different environments, that is also possible. You need to make selection of multiple entries and click on the selected pipelines. So it means the multiple pipelines could be executed on different environments. However, that is not suggestible to run multiple pipelines on a single environment at the same time. Let's talk about repository. In the repository, these repositories are Adobe provided code management repository, which we can access via a URL. Also, we can create different branches in that. We can also look at the commit history. However, that is not in our control. Whatever is going on the commit side, Adobe is managing that. We cannot do any kind of different operation that we generally perform on other external SCM repository. For example, if you are having any GitHub or GitLab, uh, in that case, you might do different operations on the SCM repository. That those operations will not be available on Git repository, Adobe provided Git repository. We just need to sync the Adobe Git repository with the finalized and stabilized code. Or might be if you're on a dev environment, you can push directly and test that on the AEM environment. So let's see how the repository section is available for us. So we need to go ahead and click on the repository, which is coming on the left side. In the repository, if you want to create your own repository, you just need to click on the add repository. It will ask you the Adobe repository or private repository. A private repository means you can directly include or access your private repository. However, certain different controls will not be in your favor. If you're going with the private Git repository, you need to manage it. However, if you are talking about Adobe Git repository, you need to sync the Adobe Git repository with your own repository. You need to provide the name and URL will be appeared automatically. Once you are done with that, a new repository will be available for you. However, you can create different branches for that. As you can see, one repository is there and I do have multiple branches in that. So any branch I can deploy if I'm going to select this repository. Now, if I'm talking about this repository is available, I can also attach the pipeline. So pipeline will also be attached with that. And in case you want to access and download your code, you just need to click on the access repo info. If you're clicking on that, it will tell you the username, and you can generate your password. It is also providing you the URL or the command to clone your repository. By using that, you can pull out your code on your local environment. Managing access token, as you know, that is also required in case the repository is the private repository, and if you want to access that, the access token, you need to manage it. With that only you can access the repository. Otherwise it will be always a not public kind of repository, and if that is a private repository, you need to access through a token. So let's talk about the another feature, which is report. In the reports, we can easily find out the results of your quality execution, quality code execution, how many different security and vulnerables are available in our overall platform, the performance information, and the deployment information. These information or reports are helping us to track the overall health of the environment, where we need to do the improvements, and it will also helping to showcase the management, where are we in terms of readiness and adopting the new features. Who can generally use that? The compliance team, managers, and the architects. Let's quickly go ahead and see how many different reports are available and how we can leverage those. In the left hand side section, reports option is available. Different reports you can see, like experience audit, SLA, and health assessment. In the health assessment, you can see the overall information related to code and content, like how many total issues are available and what are those top critical issues. Also, you can look at the past reports, and if you want to pull out those reports, you can easily go ahead and download those reports. These information are talking about only on your particular environment, and if you want to go or do the same operation for the code, the same thing is available for you. So this is how you can easily pull out the overall health assessment of your environment. Now let's talk about SLA report. SLA report is something which is telling us how our environment's behaving on a particular time frame. As you can see, authoring tier, delivery tier, and publish tier are available for us, and it is telling us on which time or on which month we got response, or we got different uh, sections on during that time. Year wise, you can drill down that, you can download that particular SLA report. And now let's talk about the experience audit. In the experience audit, it is telling us the performance, best practice, accessibility, and SEO for your environment. You can select any of the environment from the drop down, and based on that, it will show the information. Also, you can switch to the device. So accordingly, the data will be changed for you. For your desktop and for your mobile device, the data could be different. You can go ahead and check how many different scans we executed, and where we can see the potential risk, or where we need some more improvement. So all the information you can pull out from here. It is also telling us the overall lighthouse report. So it is really helping us in terms of improvement our code. So this is how you can look at the overall reports. However, at any point of time, if you want to go ahead and check or run the scans, you can start the scanning, or you can periodically, it is doing all the scans, so you can pull out the old information as well. So this is all about the programs. Let's talk about the services in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and like my channel.